Welcome to the Carl Jackson Podcast. This episode is brought to you by LadyArtLove.com. LadyArtLove.com is the online store that carries my clothing line, the Carl Jackson Collection. So I hope you check them out. They are the official sponsor of this episode, LadyArtLove.com. Welcome to the Carl Jackson Podcast. I'm delighted that you are watching us tonight. We have a special show. It's a special edition of the Carl Jackson Podcast, and we have filmmaker Rhyan Lamarr. Rhyan Lamarr is a film director, and he's an amazing person. This interview was fun to do, and he's known for the film Canal Street that came out not too long ago, and you can still watch it now on all streaming platforms except Netflix. So let's get right into the interview. It was a fun one to do, and I think you will enjoy it. This was recorded in my office during the pandemic. Yes, let's go. Welcome to the Carl Jackson Podcast. I'm delighted and excited that you guys are watching us on CJC Television Network. Thank you guys for watching us. It's been amazing. My ratings have been going up and up and up and up. So I'm getting better and better guests like today's guest. And also listening on Spotify and Apple iTunes. Want to say thank you for listening to us weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, whenever you check out my new episodes. It's just a wonderful experience. Today I have with me an amazing filmmaker. He's a singer. He's an entrepreneur. He's really probably one of the only filmmakers that I know that's a Christian that is doing it on the level that he's doing it. Like, he's on some other stuff. He sees way into the future. And so I just want to give an amazing round of applause and a special a special thank you to him for doing this episode today. And I was trying to find something that somebody sent me, your management team sent me, and I can't find it. So I'm just going to introduce you, Mr. Rhyan Lamarr.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate you allowing me on this multifaceted podcast video. I got my hair cut for you, man. I did everything, you know. But no, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. And yes, I am a Christian filmmaker. I make sure to say that I am, because there's so many people that do the other thing, you know. And there is no, and I want to make sure I put the disclaimer right now, there is no right or wrong way to be led by God. However you're supposed to be led by God. If the Lord told you you need to play in the background and you know what I mean, and be that wolf in sheep clothing, or that sheep in wolves clothing, depending on who you are, depending on what master you serve. However, I'm just led to always be bold when I speak, led to say that I am a Christian first, because I put Christ first. That doesn't mean that my material is always going to show that or reflect that, but there's always going to be a message and a method behind the message. So
awesome. So let me ask you a little bit about the movement. I'm going to go back and forth, but I want to start here first. I looked at your Instagram page and looked at some of the other stuff that you're doing. You got a whole movement going. Like, it's on another level. I've never seen anything like it. It's almost like you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong when you respond, but it's almost like you don't care what gospel's doing. You don't care what Christian music is doing. You don't care what the church is doing. It's like you're itching out a lane, or carving a lane that no one's thought about, and it's broad open for you because it's almost like you got the skill for it. So talk a little bit about this movement, man, because it's like several artists, several music videos. I see movies, series, like you are doing it like on Marvel comic level.
You know, you know what, I received that, and prayerfully one day, we'll, you know, Red Guerilla, my entertainment company, will be there soon, one day soon. You know, I was that kid in school that didn't understand, once I got to college in the real world, why. Think about it this way. you are taught at a very early age, what do you got to do? You got to get an A in math, English, social science, whatever. Name it, you got to get A in all these classes, right? But then you get to the real world and they're like, okay, now you can only excel in one thing. And I'm like, but my whole life, you literally told me that I needed to get an A in all of these collectives and I had to do well in all of these. To now say, no, you cannot be, a jack of all trades. Right. And obviously there comes honesty with that. You got to be honest with yourself. Like some people are just not supposed to do that, and you will spend your whole life realizing at the end of it that you weren't supposed to do all of that stuff. You lied to yourself.
Right. Right.
You got free will, so you can do what you want to do with your life, but you probably should have spent your time doing something else.
Right.
Sometimes the chef is not supposed to be the chef. He's just supposed to own the restaurant.
That's right.
And so, I love music, and I love cinema, and I like TV, and I say it just like that. And I've just been afforded the confidence and the anointing to be able to just infuse my passions together and just create stuff. Sometimes I just want to make music. Sometimes I want to make film. Sometimes I want to write scripts, and you should be able to do that if that's what you're supposed to be doing. And that's the lane that God has intended you to be in.
That's a great answer. So music wise, you working on new music, or you having the music coming out, don't you?
Oh, listen. Well, first of all, if you're listening right now or watching, you can pick up my album called A Perfect Mess. It debuted at number 6 on the charts. It was released May 29th. It's still a great body of work. We have some new music dropping. Actually, have some new music dropping on the 30th. So next Friday. It's a song called Will They Still Know Your Name? And it features a lot of the other artists, Bree Smiles, Casey Wavy, Jack Red, and my music producer partner, Ma G. And we're just trying to create some awareness in the midst of the chaos that you better get right.
Wow, powerful. And that comes out on the 30th?
Comes on the 30th.
So it's like a compilation?
This is just a single that's gonna be a part of Perfect Mess Volume 1. So this is gonna be this is a part of the next volume that's gonna be rolling out at early next year. And then, Bree Smiles just dropped something. She's an amazing female femc, Christian hip hop artist, gospel singer, all of the above, messenger, that she just dropped. We just dropped her second single, which is doing really well, Revivolution. And then Casey Wavy is coming through the clutch. Jack Red, who I always work with on the production side, he does a lot of stuff with Chance, Justin Bieber, and I mean, I could just go on and on and on. I like bragging about the people that God has put me in touch with, because sometimes I feel like I'm not even worthy to be around them, so gotta brag on them a little bit.
So I met Bree Smiles about 2 years ago at the Stellar Awards, and when I saw her, I was like, she looks like Esther to me. Like she'd a movie. That if you did a movie on Esther, she would be the person that would play the part.
That's funny, because I guarantee you she will love to hear what you just said about.
I'm serious.
Reading that book during this quarantine season. So.
Oh wow, yeah. I'm telling you, when I first saw, I said, you look like somebody that should play in a movie called Esther. I said, I don't know why, you just look like an Esther to me. And so, but her skill set and her music set is impeccable. I don't know anybody in Christian hip hop that can touch her right now. And we got some heavy hitters right now in Christian hip hop, but I don't know any female that can do what she can do. So that if she's under your umbrella, man, that's hats off, salute for real.
I'll say this. I wouldn't say we're partnered with her. We saw like the same thing you saw, music wise and just ministry wise. I feel that there is a huge void when it comes to women of God, and I'm gonna say it, being able to speak, right? A lot of gatekeepers that have created muzzles around a lot of females' mouths. in that industry. And, you know, we got a lot of the old church, the remnants of the old church still kind of seeping through. And I have had one of the callings that we've had at Red Guerilla Entertainment, and my partner, business partner and CEO, Bishop Eric Garnes, is that we, just like in movies, I don't direct everything because it's not all, we talked about lanes. I can't speak to, I don't know if you have a daughter or a niece or whatever, but
I have a 7-year-old daughter.
So listen, I'm in my mid-30s, right? Would you rather her listen to me or Bree Smiles?
Bree, all day, Bree.
You know what I mean? So, you know, there's just certain things that a 7-year-old girl is going to be able to identify with another woman.
Right.
Like it's just facts. It's just what it is.
Absolutely.
You know? And so we, you know, it just started scratching our head, like, why isn't there more? And then when they are attached to labels, they get muzzled or they get put on a shelf or just not really catered to the way that they should. So, you know, and when I say there's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of people, Doc Watson over at Reflection Music Group and Amplify, who we're partnered with, has an amazing eye for it. Also putting a megaphone in females' hands to speak, you know what I mean? And so just getting involved with entrepreneurs, both male and female, that have a calling for God and have a message to preach to the people, because it's needed right now.
Oh yeah, big time. So how did you get your start before Red Guerilla became whatever it is? It's becoming a big gorilla instead of red. but how did you get your start in the industry? And you're in Chicago, right?
I am in Chicago, born and raised.
Born and raised, okay.
Where I spent most of my days.
So how did you get your start? I mean, I saw a little bit of clip a few days ago when I was doing my research on this for this interview. I saw a little clip that said something about Bernie Mac, but I didn't really get into it because I was more interested in the stuff you were saying about your heart for God and living in your U-Haul or something for a while. And you said that was the closest you were ever to God, ever in before you became, you know, famous or high profile or whatever. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit, for the people of my audience that may not know your story. How did you get in the game? And what brought you to Red Guerilla?
First of all, again, if you're just tuning in, my name is Rhyan Lamarr. I am I'll just keep it real, keep it 100. I went to Columbia College, almost graduated in 2002. Prior to me moving to LA, I met, 2005. I met a extras casting director that was putting together the casting for Mr. 3000. Mr. 3000 was Bernie Mac's first lead role. Of course, he had been in movies, but that was his first lead role. He played a baseball player that had to come out of retirement to get some more home runs. I called him
one of my favorite movies with Angela Bassett is in it. And I love that movie.
At the time, I was actually gonna quit film. And I had kind of told God, I was like, look, if you go, you know, people, if this is real, you need to show me a sign, right? And there's this magazine, a newspaper, called The Red Eye in Chicago. And the front page, it was like Bernie Mac's holding auditions for his movie, Mr. 3000, whatever. So I was like, I'm about to be in a movie. I don't know nothing about film. I don't know nothing about extras. I don't know nothing. I just think I'm going to be in a movie. So I drive out to Milwaukee, because Milwaukee, Chicago is about an hour and a half ride. It's nothing crazy. So I drive out to Milwaukee, do this thing called a cattle call, which is where they hundreds of people line up to get a headshot. At the time, I thought I was coming to audition. I didn't know I was just going to stand in line for hours to get my headshot and be like, all right, that's it. So I was like, all right, well, that was my answer. I'm quitting. About a week later, I get a call from the extras casting company saying, would you like to come down and be a part of the movie? We like your look, whatever. So again, I get excited because I don't know nothing about it. I just think I booked a role and it says I'm going to be in the stands. So I'm thinking I'm going to be
right.
So I get to Milwaukee. I'm excited, man. I got my hair cut. Everything's looking fresh. And I realized what an extra is. We standing in the stands, hot in Milwaukee. If you've ever been to Milwaukee in the summertime, in June or July or August,
Brutal.
Bug City. First of all, we, at Brewer State, at Milwaukee Brewer Stadium, getting hit with sun.
Brutal.
And I was like, well, okay, I ain't trying to do this. But I will say this: it was the first time I've been on the set. I saw film equipment, real film equipment for the first time. They were still shooting on film at the time. I saw one of my favorite directors that I didn't know was my favorite director. His name is Charles S. Stone. You know who he is if you're familiar with any of his music video work. His
and the Budweiser commercial.
Yes. Yep. His music video is why I got into music videos. He did a video for The Roots featuring Erykah Badu, You Got Me. And when I saw, if you've seen the end of that video, I was like, see, that's what I want to do.
Bananas.
So didn't know that he also did that video and knew he was now directing this Mr. 3000. His video is why I even wanted to become a filmmaker in the first place, right? So a day goes by and I'm like, I'm not trying to do that. I saw a production assistant who was in charge of our little group of extras in that. And I promise you there's an end to this story.
No,
I said, I want to do what you do. I want to shadow you. And at first, I'm gonna keep it real, I was flirting. And that flirt, in the middle of it, I heard a voice say, that's not why you're here. And I said, no, I really want to do what you do. And she said, do you go to school? And I was like, yeah, I actually go to Columbia College, She's like, bring me your resume. So I was like, all right. In my head, I'm like, I don't have no resume. I don't know where. So I just started thinking about everything that was shot in Chicago at that time. So I got like Batman on my resume, Barbershop One, everything on my resume, right? I come back the next day and I saw my resume. Years later, she tells me she knew I was lying, but they needed somebody to come in. So she's like, I got something better for you. Disney has gone over budget, and so we need French hour PAs. If you don't know what French hour is, a French hour overseas, they don't break like us. They have French hour days. So they just eat, and they go on a long break, but they won't break. And they needed to go on French hour days so they can make up time. So basically, you needed glorified waiters. There was a crew of about 300, 400 people. So I would take orders for breakfast. By the time I was done with breakfast, it was time to take orders for lunch. By the time it was dinner, and then fourth meal, and I just did that for 2 weeks straight. But I didn't know I was learning because I had to talk to every single crew member.
Wow.
Every crew member. And what happens when you're taking orders, you're talking to the team, you got to wait a little bit. So what does that do? What does that do? What does that do? What does that do? So by the time I was over, and I'm 18, 19 years old at the time. The closest person to my age on that set is about 31 years old. So I'm this black kid running around this set, this all white set with my do-rag on and my baggy pants, running around taking orders, right? And I did that all of the Milwaukee, and it was just supposed to be to get them back on. And at the end of their Milwaukee run, because they're going to go to New Orleans to shoot the Angela Bassett stuff, I said, I'm ready to go to New Orleans, right? And the AD looked at me real quick and she said, go over here to go get your credentials. We leave in the morning. I was on that project for 3 months.
Wow.
So and that was the summer of my freshman year of college. So I went in my sophomore year with a huge head.
Right.
Can't wait to be like, what did you do over the summer?
Yes, of course.
I did all of this. What y'all do?
Right.
I had to catch, stuff like that. You start to build an ego that's bad for your health, but I learned a lot working on that, and it pushed me to stay in film. Bernie, what Bernie did was, he was such a great man. Bernie took the crew, whoever wanted to go back to the Bernie Mac show that fall, and brought the crew back.
Wow.
I knew, so I was like, well, shoot, I really don't need to go back to school. Let me just keep going with y'all. And Bernie was like, nope, go back to school, finish it. When you're done, holla at me. So I was like, all right, whatever.
Right.
3 years go by. There's an exit class called Semester in LA that's at CBS Radford that Columbia has, where you have to take a class in LA. You meet some of the people, and it's supposed to set you up with an internship. First day I get to LA, I'm not even thinking about Bernie Mac, to be real. I'm not thinking about none of that. It's out of my mind. I get to CBS Radford. The first thing I see is a Bernie Mac show bungalow.
Oh, wow.
And so they got like bungalows that are like trailers or whatever, right?
Right.
So bungalow, let's say Bernie Mac was bungalow 7, and then where my class was like bungalow 20. So you had to walk past the bungalow. I'm like, so I don't even go to my class. I walk into the bungalow.
Right.
Whole conversation at the rap party, because Bernie's like, I'm gonna take everybody back, pops in my head. So I'm like, is Rhonda here? And again, this black kid walk up in this place, is
right.
Not dressed for film right now. I don't know nothing about how to dress and da 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 da. I'm overdressed, by the way. Right. Everybody thinks they need a suit on and a tie when you go into film, and that's not what it is anymore. But so they're like, who is this kid? And I was like, it's Rhonda here, and Bernie. And they're like, yeah. So they hit Rhonda over the walkie. 10 minutes later, she comes in his go-kart. She's like, what you doing here? I'm like, I told her I was here. She's like, Bernie's gonna love to see you. So we drive to the studio. Never forget, Malcolm in the Middle is on the third, on level 3. Bernie's in the center, and that 70s show is on the bottom.
And this is what lot is this?
CBS Radford.
CBS Raptors. Okay, gotcha.
So, when you're shooting, they have stages. So and in this stage, Bernie was in the center. That 70 show was on the bottom. Malcolm in the Middle was on the top.
I got you.
And I don't remember the dude's name, but he was the oldest brother. No, the middle child. No, he was older than Malcolm on the show, or whatever. But I remember him walking through, and he was walking with Wilder Valderrama, and I was just like, this time I had never really seen people like that outside of Mr. 3000.
Right.
This dude from that. So I go in. Bernie's like, "What you doing here?" And I was like, "You said look you up." When I after whatever, and I was like, "I'm not graduated yet, but I'm in semester in LA, and I would love to get an internship." And he was like, "Rhonda, can we get him a job?" So I had a job.
Wow.
Next show, first week I was in town.
The first week you was on the Bernie Mac show, had a job. Wow.
So, this sounds like an amazing story, right? That everything's lining up, da 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 da. But remember, I talked about that ego.
Come on,
man, you can't tell me nothing.
Come on.
I called God out, and God got me on Mr. 3000. And then I just got to LA, and I just got a job. Man, you can't tell me nothing. Man, listen, you can't tell me nothing. I've never seen money like this before. I got rent. I ain't paying my rent, but I'm making money every week. You know what I'm saying? Like, never seen that type of money before. I'm seeing anybody from season 3. Like I did the last 2 seasons of Bernie. So you think about everybody's on the Bernie Mac show. I got to meet them. I'm talking with them. We on set. We messing around. And then from that, I worked on everything from first season of America's Got Talent, season 6 of An Apprentice. I can say I worked with Donald Trump for almost a little over a year. Over a year. I did that whole thing. I did a lot of stuff, right? And so I learned a lot, but developed a ginormous ego. And the Lord sat me down. I wasn't managing my finances right. I wasn't. You develop bad habits when you're immature in an industry that promotes immaturity. I was eating it all up. Time management was terrible. Organization was horrible. Priorities was all jacked all over the place. And so what should have been a beautiful thing ended up sidelining me for 4 or 5 years. Ended up being homeless in the streets of Van Nuys. Ended up living in a U-Haul van, and just about done with film, and everybody had literally counted me out. for all the right reasons. And then, as you were saying, it was literally probably the most closest I've ever been with the Lord, even to this day.
Wow.
Even I'll be like, dang, I remember, like, because when the Lord strips away everything and says you need to pay attention to me,
come on,
it simplifies your walk. It simplifies your being when nobody cares about you.
I've been there. Trust me.
You know,
yep.
You see why some people, I mean, I've literally been homeless. I literally slept at Union stations, washed up in Burger King bathrooms, like slept in car washes. You know, there's an amazing car wash owner in Venice that used to let me sleep in his car wash, and then I'd go and get some breakfast from McDonald's. So like I've really been below rock bottom.
Wow.
It took me a while to get back to, first of all, when you're below rock bottom and then you have to climb yourself back up just to get back to rock bottom, woo!
Man.
And so a lot of people, for me, like it takes a lot to stress me out. It takes a lot to complain because I've been in a terrible season that I put my own self in.
Right.
Nobody did that. Nobody put up the gun to my head but me.
Right.
And so, but it was worth the ride for the testimony to be able to say these things to you, to be able to say to whoever's listening, no matter if it's one person or 10,000 people listening, that you shouldn't have to go as far as I went. Like, yeah, oh, the E True Hollywood story, da 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 da. You don't need to go that far. Just bump your head once. Don't bump your head and fall out the dang building.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just to pick yourself back up. And I fell, you know, only through the grace of God, you know, have I been able to get back to where I'm at. I'll say this. I'll say this, and this will sum it all up. I had completely forgot that I was a filmmaker. I was just trying to focus on. I was focusing on I just need to get a job. I need to get myself back together, right? And I actually had found this company called Fusion Event Staffing. Shout out to them for saving my life financially. I have always just kind of been a hustler, you know, and been able to kind of fall on my feet somehow, whatever. And so I was working with them, and they do this thing called brand ambassadoring. And I was out at the Home Depot Center out in California, Southern California. And we were selling these Surface Pros, or I'm sorry, you remember the Surface Pads? They were big a couple years ago, right? That'll tell you how recent this was. It hasn't been 10 years, right?
Wow.
And so the first version of the Surface Pros, we were just supposed to put them in people's hands. But I was such a good salesman that I was selling them, not like on the side or anything, but I kept telling my supervisor, yo, look, these people want to buy these. I don't know what you want to do with it. And it got to a point where I was running my own division. And I remember this guy came up to me once, and this will wrap up. This guy came up to me and he was like, what do you do? And I was like, I'm a brand ambassador, the Fusion. That I gave him the whole pitch. And he was like, nah, man. Like, what do you do? And I said, well, you know, I came out here to be a filmmaker, but that's not really going good for me, you know. And I didn't get into the whole thing. I just said, you know, I made some wrong decisions and it kind of got me here. And he said, I want to tell you something, right? He said, I don't know, the Lord is just leading me to tell you this. He said, 10 years ago, I lost my wife and my child in a car accident.
Wow.
And he said, and they said at the time I had one of the best business practices, medical. He was a doctor in the field of my practice. And he said, I just lost every ambition to get up out of bed, and I lost everything. And I ended up on a couch at my mom's house. And she said, one day my mom walked up and said, you just need to get up. You just need to move, go for a walk, go do something. And it led him downtown. And if you've ever been downtown LA, you know, there is a serious homeless problem going on downtown LA. You know, and he ended up just going down there to Tent City and, you know, Skid Row, and found out that a lot of these people down there, they have medical conditions. Some of them can't go to the hospital, not because they don't have the healthcare, because they don't have the mental capacity to go.
Right.
Some of them are scared. They don't want to go to jail. So certain things like that.
Right.
And so he just brought his bag down. It's like they did in the old school, like with the doctor bag, went down there and started helping them. And he befriended this woman who used to feed the homeless. And so they started to kind of meet on Sundays, and one thing led to another. And he says, Arnold Schwarzenegger saw what they were doing, ended up giving them a very large grant, ended up being one of the first hospitals down in Skid Row. And it ended up booming into a very large practice across the United States for low-income areas and areas of poverty. And he said, and to this day, he told me to look over. I'm like talking to him, says, look over there. And I'm looking, and I see this woman and this child. He said, you see that woman? That's the woman that I met when my mom told me to get up and go back out there. And that is my daughter. And I was like, wow. You know, and he said, so I don't know I don't know what this is for you, but I'm telling you that the Lord is telling me to tell you that the Lord is not done with you, so you need to get up.
Wow.
And I never forget that, because it was powerful to me.
Yeah.
And that's kind of stuck with me this whole time. And from that on, that night, I started writing a movie called Restored Me. I would say 6 months after that conversation, I was on set filming that movie.
Wow.
A year and a half after that, we were getting Canal Street ready to go.
Wow.
You know, and so I remember when we finished filming Canal Street, I finally felt like I got off that roller coaster.
Right.
It went from like homeless to like, you know, this movie to like, it's just like ever since I got to LA, I felt like I was on this roller coaster.
Right.
And got off the roller coaster, I was in Chicago. We had just wrapped Canal Street, and I felt like I could breathe. And I was like, that's a ride I'm not getting on again. So,
right.
We ain't gonna get on that ride again. I'm sorry, man. I'm looking for my charger. I don't want the interview to go out on you while we're talking. But yeah, man. So that's my long-winded answer. Sorry, man. I'm a writer, man. So I also go into
hey, I enjoy it, man. I when you were talking, I had so many other questions, but I didn't want to. I hate when people cut guests off when I watch interviews, because they think that what they have to say is so much more important than the guest. So I was glad to see that you got it out, because I was so interested in the story. And I just wanted to know, I had a couple questions about Canal Street. So walk with us through that process of how you got Canal Street made, because I remember when it came out, it was everywhere. I definitely heard about it because it was everywhere. Like if I was in Dallas, I heard about it. I flew back in, I live in California, when I flew back into LA, it was everywhere. I even saw it when I went to the theaters. I would see the trailer for it, or the little thing that starts before the trailers. It was a huge film, and everybody that saw the film, and I've yet to see it because of my schedule, but everybody that saw the film was like, this was a phenomenal piece. So walk us through, now you're going to make me want to watch it tonight, but walk us through the process.
You can watch on Amazon, you can check Hulu, iTunes, Google.
And I have all those.
But Netflix, you can catch it right now.
Well, Netflix don't know how to pay right. Well, let me not say that. So anyway, yeah, I said it. He didn't say it. Okay, so walk us through just briefly, if you want to, the process of how you made that film and how did the story come about. Now, I did read that you had wrote the script years before you actually made it. So let's get to the part of where it got to the point where you got it funded and made it, because funding is always probably the biggest issue. And then, casting and all that. So I just want to hear a little bit of that.
So we wrote, me and my writing partner, John Knitter, and Adam Key, we started writing that script back in 2005. So through all the story I just gave you, my testimony, we had been perfecting that script. And like, this was a script that we were going to make and bring back to Chicago. Every filmmaker has a movie. They're like, we going to make this, we going to retire by the time we 23 and da-da-da-da. Never happens. Sometimes it happens.
Right.
But,
you said retired 23?
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what's crazy is if you see the movie, Michael T. Williams' character was actually supposed to be played by Bernie Mac.
Okay.
You know, and you know, when you're young and you're
I can see that. I can see that.
Like, who do I know that I could put in the movie?
Right.
And so you start to cater your, you know, like I would have never thought in a million years that Mekhi Phifer would be in the movie, let alone be a friend of mine. You know what I mean? Now I recall, like it's weird. I grew up watching pretty much everybody in the movie.
Yeah, Soul Food, Mekhi, Clockers.
Yeah, you know, and then Mike Beach, you know, William Lee.
What?
Arias.
What?
You know, see these
classics.
That are, you know, so I mean, I could go on and on like that, but you know, trial and error is how we got to the financial table for Canal Street, because Restored Me, which is that first project I was telling you about, which is a good project. You should check it out too if you're listening. You can again catch it on all streaming platforms minus Netflix. It stars Nafisa Williamson and Giovanni Watson. Co-stars Malik Yoba, Gary Owen, Chris Spencer, William Lee, Yancy Arias, and the great Bill Duke.
Yes.
They're stepping stones. So we had to get Restored Me done so that then we could create a little bit of confidence in people to bet a little bit on the Red Guerilla train. And so we got Canal Street funded independently through a crowd of amazing supporters.
Good.
Canal Street is 100% independently funded by regular people.
That's good. Wow.
You know, and no, we didn't do the whole crowdfunding like you invest $5, you get a T-shirt. It's real investors that really invested in the project. I tell people all the time, you'd be really surprised at what's in your backyard. Go in your back, because in your backyard, you own it. You can open the door, you can put your feet up. That's your backyard.
I like that.
You can go to the tree and you can pick fruit from your own tree that you own, that you have access to. Your phone has the power to invest in your career.
I like that.
Contacts. I guarantee you, if you have a contact in your phone, at least one of those people knows somebody or is that person that can invest in your dream. 100%. I will stand by that statement.
I agree.
Guarantee it.
You just described my life, so you're right.
Yo, and that is the short answer of how Canal Street was funded. It was funded by the term "closed mouths don't get fed." Mm-hmm. So we heard no a billion times. There's only a dozen investors in Canal Street that invested in the dream, but there's thousands of people that said no.
Right.
Thousands of doors closed in the face.
Right.
You know, I get told the word no every day.
Right.
No is a part of yes. You can't, you know, and so Canal Street was put together that way from a financial end. Kevin Mullins, Bishop Garnes, Amir Wyndham, some amazing EP partners to be with that. We just collectively put our phones together and, you know, was able to fund Canal Street. The amazing cast came from the same thing. Who do you know in your backyard? Marissa Ross, amazing casting director, believed in us when nobody else in Chicago would give us a chance on the casting side. Marissa does PD, Chicago Med, Fire, This Is Us, The Shy, like, you know, and she is about the people. And so she came in and was our casting director and was like, so you're going to do all this in 16 and a half days? And we were like, yes. She was like, wow. All right, you can do it. Let's do it.
Wow.
She's like, these agents, you're going to have to make them believers. You know, I remember when Mekhi got to set, because he didn't know me yet. Mekhi was like, all right, so you're going to get this. We got Mekhi shot out in like 3 days, right? Mekhi, and if you see Canal Street, you see he's got courtroom scenes. He's got a lot of B-story stuff. And so he was like, all right, once I leave.
That's it.
I'm going to work. I'm going to, I'm going to work.
Right.
So it was a blessing to be able to see actors like him, Jamie Hector, another brother of mine, like another God-fearing man of Christ. Like, but they were able to see the movie later and be like, you got a cheerleader for life now, because I saw what you could do with nothing. And you know what I mean? And so when you start to make people believers,
come on,
or people you burnt bridges with now believe you and know that God is real. And like, look, God is real because I knew you before.
Right. Right. So your relationship with God, it seems like it's very important to you. Talk to us about what you seem like you almost like a preacher in disguise as a filmmaker, because you have so many gems I'm hearing you say just even in this interview. So just talk a little bit about your relationship with God, or Christ, I should say. What is that like for you? Describe that for you, your relationship. Whatever you can share with us.
No, absolutely. Now, first of all, stupidity has made me wise, right? That's the only reason why I'm wise, because I was stupid. Right. And I learned from my mistakes, right? Right. Was never ignorant, was a little bit too smart for my own good in certain places, right? Because my parents raised me right. I just chose to go the other way. Make sure I say that. Because a lot of times you hear these stories and it's like, well, where were the parents? My parents were there.
Exactly. I just wanted to do some stuff.
Yeah, I just want to do something else.
Right. Right.
Humility and grace that is only given, that I've only been able to receive from God, has kept me on the straight and narrow. I ain't perfect. I'm not perfect, and nobody is, nobody is perfect. I mean, if you are, then I'm stepping away from you if you're talking about you perfect now. I feel where we are in the world today, everything that's going on in the world, let's get even more deeper than politics, what we've experienced this year in 2020. If I did not have my faith, if I did not have my walk where I am with God right now, I would be a wreck. I'd be lost.
Up. Yes.
Completely tore up, a mess. I'd be, I'm a perfect mess. I would literally just be a mess, not even a perfect mess. I would be a mess. But it's through my relationship with God that I've been able to smile in this dark season. It's probably, and I'll say this, and I'll say this to brag, this is probably my best year.
Right. Right. Me too. Mine too, actually.
God.
Right.
I'm sitting here looking at a vision board that I have off to the side that my girl made me put together. And I have literally just about crossed everything off this year.
Wow.
Wow. And it's because these were goals that God put it. And they weren't like, I want to make $1 billion by the end of this year. It wasn't anything like that. I mean, if the Lord puts that in your life, that's what it is. But I will say that, like, I have found peace when there should be no peace. And that is, with all intents and purposes, the peace that withstands things that are not, you should not feel peace this season. Like, if you look at everything, it shouldn't, but I have been at peace. And I've been working and operating in that spirit all of 2020.
Wow.
So
that's crazy. So I wanted to pivot back a little bit to Donald Trump. What was that like working with him?
I get that question a lot, and I feel like people be waiting for me to be like, listen, I will say this, the person you see on screen is the person that I worked with.
Right.
So you could, it is, so for me, and I'm not going to get into the Biden versus Trump thing, but for me, it's only scary to see somebody that I worked with for a little over a year handle situations the same way he handled a reality show.
Oh, wow.
That's all I will say.
Yikes.
And I ask the question always, these are the two people in the entire country that we have to pick.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
There are millions of people on the planet.
Right.
No, I'm sorry, billions. In America, these are the two people, these elderly, two white men that we have to pick
Right.
to be leader of the free world.
Right.
That is what we're left with.
Right.
That is why I'm always scratching my head. And I was watching the debate yesterday, getting past all the rhetoric and all the distractions and all that stuff that they throw in there. You're a filmmaker, you know what I mean? You understand scripts. So when I hear them talk, I'm listening to somebody who wrote a monologue. You know that they've been practicing.
Of course.
You know, so like I'm listening to rehearsed speeches from things that somebody wrote for you.
Right.
So let me get through what they wrote for you. So let me hear what your team is standing for. Let me get past the personalities and all that other stuff and I want to hear what you're talking about.
Right.
And you know, and that's where I stand. Like I'm a big research. Like I'm gonna research. I don't really move off emotion. I used to. I don't move off emotion. I don't fall into traps. I need to read what it is, and I'm already a slow reader. Like when it comes to certain things, so I need to really dive into it and understand what it is you're selling me, and it's not what you're saying, right? Because people get lost in things sounding good and they don't fact check, and you'll be surprised at majority of the stuff that you hear people say, they don't even stand for. They just know people aren't going to do the research.
Right.
It sounds good, but you won't stand for that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, so, you know, I was one of the things I was listening to yesterday when they were talking about fracking. And I'm like, both of y'all, like, what?
Right.
Listen, that's a whole nother podcast. But I will say God has used terrible people to get the message across. God has used literally an ass.
Right.
To make things right and to bring people back to Christ.
Right.
Take that for what you want. But I don't always side with things that look right. When it's completely packaged for me, nice with a bow.
Something is up.
When you telling me something like that I want to hear.
Right.
When everything comes off as a monologue, I need to know. I need to hear more. And so I just think I think it's interesting to see a man that I worked with on a reality show. If you're listening, if you tuned in late, I don't work for Donald Trump right now. I'm saying I worked on a show called Apprentice Season 6 in LA. I worked on the transportation department. I led transportation, just so we're all on the same page. Because I'm not a politician. But I'm always perturbed a little bit when these are the two people that we have to pick from in the entire country.
So let me ask you this then. How does one vote as a Christian between the two candidates? Because I've been getting that question quite a bit, and I've been getting both sides of it. I mean, I had a talk with Dietrich Hatton about it. He called me. He was so upset with me because I posted I posted something about pro-life, and I threw a jab at a couple pastors. Yeah. Well, I didn't throw a jab at him, but he took it as a jab. Right. So he's like, "Carl, I need to talk to you." So he calls me, and he literally like went off about his perspective on pro-life, and he made some very profound statements as a Biden supporter. He's a Biden supporter. So I'm curious now that I'm learning from talking to people. I'm now just trying to figure out everybody's perspective on it. How do you vote as a Christian then between the two candidates, or do you not vote at all?
You vote. You definitely vote. Use your voice. I vote as a Christian the same way I walk my life out. I pray. I see what the Lord is leading me to. I don't listen to whatever. Look, the Lord speaks to people differently. And I can't say you're wrong or you're right for what the Lord is putting, what you think the Lord is telling you. Because it's not always the Lord telling you that, right? But I'm not going to argue with you that that's not what the Lord is telling you. I just know what he's showing me.
Right.
And I know that he showed me to research. Check these policies that they're talking about, check who they're trying to bring into the house. The people they're trying to bring into the house, pay attention to the laws they're trying to pass. What are their policies? Once you find out what their policies are, see who they're electing in their communities,
in their camps,
camps, because you got to keep following.
Follow the trail.
Go all the way down.
Right.
Civil. You got to go all the way down to your park district.
Yeah, that's true. You're right.
Who was running the park district?
It's called an administration for a reason.
Yeah. I mean, who was running the park districts in Chicago a decade ago?
Right. President
Obama.
Right.
Started there, right? Committees. So it's not, you got to know everything. You got to at least try to know. You're never going to know everything.
I like that.
You also have to be okay with them lying to you.
Right.
Because they're not telling the truth.
Right.
They're telling us what we want to hear, but they're not telling us the truth. You can't tell. First of all, they can't tell us all the truth because it would kill us.
Yeah, it would destroy us. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine everything that they keep from us?
Let's just take the subject of aliens alone, if that's even a real thing.
Right.
Who could really take that if it was real, if it is real?
And then there's certain things like we could take it on like a small level. Like there's certain things I won't tell my mom because it would crush her.
Right. That's true. Right.
There's certain things I got to keep from people because there's certain things that just need to know basis type situation. Some people that talk about that security clearance is real because you can't just tell everybody everything.
No.
That comes with discernment, and that comes with responsibility, being a head of a household. I mean, it comes with those type of things. So, I didn't know we were poor until I got older.
Right.
Because my dad didn't come home saying we broke.
Right. He wasn't coming home singing the theme to Good Times, huh? Good Times.
He came home saying, you hungry? You want to eat? I got you something.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I don't know what he's going through when he goes to work. I don't know what he's stressing out over.
Right.
I know that we prayed at home and we kept things moving. So, when it comes to how was it working with Trump? I mean, it was cool. I learned a lot. I did. I learned a lot. He's one of the people early in my career that told me and asked me that I want to climb the ladder or be the ladder.
Wow.
So
he was the one that told you that, Donald Trump?
Yes, he did.
Wow. That's powerful.
And I've always
if he told you that, that makes me look at that whole thing of they say he's racist. I don't believe that. That's something you don't tell a black kid.
Listen, man.
Do you know how deep that statement is?
It's very steep, very deep.
You get how deep what he was saying with that statement? But
a racist can still give good advice.
True. That's true. That's true.
It ain't like listen, it ain't like slave owners still didn't make friends with their slaves.
Wow.
So I'm not going there. I'm not digging anybody out of any racist holes that they built themselves in. I feel like a lot of people are prejudiced, and a lot of people tolerate both black and white and brown or whatever, tolerate each other.
Right.
I do believe that racism is sin, and it's a disease. I definitely do believe it's taught. It's taught. It's definitely taught.
So without throwing him under the bus, do you feel that if someone felt like he was racist, that they would have a good feel? That's a good feeling for them to have, or you feel like that's just open to interpretation?
I'll say this. I say that there has been some things that sound very racist.
Okay. Sometimes, but let's be honest. You're a filmmaker. You're a filmmaker. So sometimes white people say stuff oblivious to the fact that it's racist too.
Listen, if you talk to anybody who's over the age of 70, they don't even realize they're racist.
Exactly.
Because it was a different time.
Exactly.
Like it literally was a different time. Dave Chappelle.
Exactly.
It's like that is literally how it was. Like, you know, that's how it was. Like, kudos for you having a conversation with me right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Right.
so I don't. First of all, I don't give an excuse for racism. I don't give an excuse for any type of bigotry. You know, any hate when it comes to that. I understand where that stuff roots from. I don't agree with it. And again, I'm not giving an excuse for it. I can't call somebody 100% racist.
Okay.
Unless you are literally talking right to me. If I'm watching something that's going through the media, that's a setup. There's certain things that are setups. There's certain things that are played out and put out there. I'm really cautious when I say certain things because, first of all, this is being recorded.
Right.
We're on my platform. People utilize your words and they twist them all around. And oh no, but you said that. And I said that's why I said I do not work for Donald Trump. I worked for him in 2006.
Right.
For a show called Apprentice.
So you don't know. So you don't know if he's racist, and if you did know, you would never tell anyway, right?
Oh no, I would. 100%. I'll call it what it is.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I'll call it what it is. I do.
Do you feel that he's racist then?
I believe that he's prejudiced.
Okay, that's that. I get that.
I believe that he's prejudiced. I also believe that Biden's prejudiced.
Right. Right.
I believe that we have utilized Black and brown people for our needs.
Right.
And they will become our friends when they need us. There are, you know, I will say that without a shadow of doubt in my mind. Like, and I feel that every day. You feel that every day.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
To say somebody hates one race, you're not gonna get me saying that because I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know.
Have you seen him since he told you that?
Saw him in New York. I saw him in New York in not a Trump hotel. I forgot what hotel we were in, but I was doing some work with Wayne Brady for his traveling show, and I literally saw him. Obama was running, so that's the time frame it was. I saw him for a split second, and I saw him passing, and he recognized me.
Oh wow!
You know, and that's what it was. But other than that, I haven't seen him. But I feel like the Lord has a running joke with me. Because I met Obama before he was president at Hyde Park Barbershop in Chicago. Shout out to Hyde Park Barber Studio. Met him. I actually met Hillary because she actually went to my high school. So she always used to come and speak at the school. I've met these people that are quote unquote running the free world. And I've met them to see that they are flawed individuals. Right. That I would never vote for if I knew who, because I've been privy to who they are. But you know what I'm saying? Like, how many people could say that they've met those people? Like, that ain't, hey, that's the same dude that was smoking cigarettes outside the barbershop. That's that dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just, I've been able to see people for who they are and what they are. You know, working in entertainment, you know that they're running monologues and they're playing a part, they're acting. Let's just keep it real. That's what they're doing. But it's really hard for me to say on record somebody's racist that I don't personally know. Now, there have been several racist statements. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or things that haven't been denounced. But when I see things that haven't been denounced, I'm like, that's your main supporter. So you're trying to win. Right. A lot of people will do things when they're trying to win. Right. You know, I mean, and that's a corrupt spirit. That's a spirit of corruption. That's a whole nother conversation.
That's another whole podcast. But let me ask you this. As we kind of wrap this up, I have like 2 or 3 more questions for you. So, Chicago. Uh-huh. We hear these stories about Chicago. You live there. Tell us the real deal about what's going on with African Americans.
Every city has a hood. Right. Every city deals with gun violence. Okay. Every city deals with gentrification. Right. But back to what we were talking about. Why do they only highlight certain areas in the country? Right? there's places I know right now happen in East St. Louis, right? It's terrible in East St. Louis. They're not getting any support, no coverage, no money, for their school system, no support. There's places in Philly right now. There's places in, I could go on New Mexico right now, but Chicago, for whatever reason, it's bad in certain areas, but it's bad everywhere in certain areas. But there's also amazing things in the city of Chicago too.
So why do they pick on Chicago so much? Why is that always in the press and the news?
I have no idea.
Right.
I feel like that's above my pay grade. Now I'm not gonna sit here and say no, it's not, like people ain't popping off. But I'll say this: when I was a kid, gun violence, it was happening still, but it just wasn't being covered. It just wasn't. I remember like seeing, like, so you tell them, like, it was like Chicago, murder, murders. There's some amount of murders on the 4th of July. So I'm sorry. So no, there was nowhere else this happened this today.
Right.
Just in Chicago.
Right.
All right, now let's talk about some of the goods. Like they should, like, okay, what happened in Chicago? Positive. Like what happened on some positive stuff? Because I know positive stuff happened today. Right.
Right.
Chicago has a problem, just like America has a problem, just like certain places have a problem. But there's a lot of great things happening in the city of Chicago too.
Right.
There's a lot of positive things from the organizations that Chance is a part of, to even Kanye, and Donda's house.
Oh yeah,
has been doing, what the Winston family, Bill Winston, David Winston, and that family has been doing for the city of Chicago. I could go on and on. There's a lot of amazing men of God and women in Chicago that are moving on a very positive level. You're just not gonna hear about it, because what drives the world today? It ain't positive
negativity,
stuff.
Right?
So of course you could talk about 45 people being slain, and that's not to downplay it, because brothers and sisters out here are warring against each other, But that's an even deeper problem. That's a systemic problem that we've been dealing with all our lives. And so I feel like it's careless sometimes when you promote certain things, but you don't promote anything else.
Mm-hmm.
It continues to put us in the light that, because when you hear 45 people were slain in the city of Chicago, you're not thinking 45 white, Indian, Mexican. Like, you're literally saying Black people are over there you're saying it without.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they're not thinking about people in Bolingbrook. If you're from Chicago, Bolingbrook's a city. You're not Streeterville. You're like, okay, what's happening on the west or out south?
Right.
Right. And that's a problem, because they literally don't give us any other coverage but that. They continue to paint us in that picture, as long as they got us there. But they're not going to talk about anything we're doing on the up and up. Or if they are, it has to do with, unfortunately, music, anything we're entertaining you with, right? We're not going to talk about the entrepreneurs, that are doing their thing, that are making good, during COVID, during just in general. I feel a certain type of way when I'm always seeing Chicago in the news on a negative light. And again, for the record, I don't say that it doesn't exist. I'm not one of those people that say, oh, it's not that bad. It's bad. But there's a lot of good in the city of Chicago too.
So what's next for you?
Man, we are working on some amazing projects. One of the projects that we're developing right now, which I can go on the record saying I'm so excited about, is a very special project called, Morning Bells. Morning Bells is the Sean Bell story.
Wow.
We're partnered with Juve. And if you don't know, Juve is over at Amazon with Michael T. Williamson. And, just kind of just doing something special. Using the platform not to just entertain, but also to minister to. And it is a very powerful project. Viola Davis' company is a part of that whole world right there. So that's going to be rolling out later next year.
Nice.
Got an exciting project called North of the 10 that we're going to be going into production in the next couple of months. And it stars an amazing cast. I can't talk about yet. I can't release the cast because we got to roll out, but I would love to come back on and talk to you about that.
Please
with the cast.
come back. Yes, absolutely.
But North of the 10 is going to change the game in so many ways.
Wow.
And I'm excited to be a part of that. And I remember when some of the cast was reading the script, they're like, this ain't your normal story that you get behind. And I'm like, I always tell you, the Lord is leading me to make the decision to put this project in. It don't necessarily have to feel Christian to be Christian.
Right. That's right. Proverbs to me is a prime example of that in the book of Ecclesiastes. There's some heavy stories that can be told from them two books alone, and they're not necessarily Jesus driven, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: top 5 MCs. You into hip hop? What's your top 5? It's just off the beaten path.
Groups count? Groups count?
Yep.
Oh, groups count?
Groups count. Yes. Top 5.
Top five. If groups count, normally they don't leave groups out.
I leave groups in because of Tribe Called Quest, and you can't separate Phife Dawg and Q-Tip. You just can't separate them.
All right, top 5. You saying rappers or MCs?
I'm gonna say rappers.
Okay, cool. So Tupac, because you said rappers, not MCs. Tupac, 1. Outkast.
Oh, yes.
Outkast 2. I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. M, number 3.
M is cold.
I'm saying
M is cold, Doc. M is cold.
I'm gonna have to say Redman, number 4. I'm about to say Redman. I'm gonna say number 5. Number 4, and number 5. Start the hate now, everybody. Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Okay, all right. I can see that.
Those would be my top 5
rappers. Okay, so then now I'm curious. What's your top 5 MCs?
MCs. M. Bizzle. Talking about MCs now. I'm gonna say Bizzle. I'm gonna say it because people don't never put them in.
I don't ever put them in. I agree. I don't put them in.
And if you're talking lyrics, you know what it is? It's crazy. Somebody who has to not only come up with a lyrical connotation, but also keep it from a ministerial standpoint.
That's true.
That's different.
That's true. Okay, I give you points for that one.
Biggie.
Gotta be Biggie. Yes.
Jay-Z. Right. And then number 5, man. I'll probably Andre 3000.
Andre is cold.
Probably Andre 3000.
Andre is cold. Right. And it's funny too because I was just having this conversation with somebody about Outkast, and we were discussing between the two who's the best MC, and everybody was like, "No, we never really had thought about it until that question was asked." And Andre 3000, as much as we love Big Boy, because his wordplay,
better rapper though.
His wordplay is cold.
Big Boy is the better rapper.
Right. But Dre, like, that's on some other stuff. Andre 3000 is on some other stuff.
Well, because Andre will hit you with a 25-bar verse.
Exactly.
And take you on a ride.
And sing it sometimes.
Yeah. And I know I'm going to get some hate on them MCs, but that's just, hey, listen.
I'm surprised you didn't choose Kanye or LL, though.
They're in my top 10.
Okay, top 10. Okay. Not
my top 5.
Kanye's not really an MC to me.
He started that way.
He did start that way, but now I don't think he's an MC.
He became more of a rapper influencer.
Right.
Lil Wayne's in my top 10 too. Lil Wayne he got into my top 10.
What did Lil Wayne do to earn that top 10 spot for you though? What album that turned it around for you?
It was his body of work. It's not even
body. Okay.
Because think about it, he developed into, he's one of the only ones to develop into an actual rapper.
That's true.
Like he was the Lil Wayne, you know what I mean?
He started at 5, right?
Yeah, you know, so like, you know, Lil Bow Wow, Lil Romeo, all them.
Right.
But he actually has been rapping as long as some of the rappers that are. He was in with Jay-Z. Like he's been rapping for a long time.
People forget that he started really in the mid-90s.
Yeah.
So he's really on that Jay-Z, on that Busta Rhymes. He's really there.
And he's younger, so his body of work's gonna be even longer.
Right.
You know, like a lot of times people like trying to put, I'm like, they're not there yet. It's like kind of trying to say like trying to compare LeBron to Michael Jordan 10 years ago.
Right.
I used to be like, he's not there yet, but he's getting close now. You know what I'm saying? Like, because he's still in it. You know what I mean? Like,
right, he's still creating the creative. He's still creating it, right?
Lil Wayne is younger than Jay-Z, so just like he's younger, so he's still gonna create. He's still creating content. I can't put people like Drake in there yet because there's people with bodies of work that are.
Drake's not there yet. Drake is building.
He will be there. He'll be in the top 10.
Drake will be in the top 10.
Yeah, you got to give him that. But he's to me is like LL Cool J.
Right. Okay, so I got 2 more top 5s. I gotta ask from a director to a director. Top 5 movies and top 5 directors. Go.
My top 5. These are my top 5. If you're listening,
go.
All right. This is what keeps me motivated.
Gotcha.
Not in any particular order.
Okay. No, it's got to be in order.
All right. Okay.
Okay. The movies don't have to be in order, but the director's got to be in order.
No, I'll put them in order. Look.
Okay, cool.
Higher Learning.
That's number 1?
Number 1 is Higher Learning. Number 1.
Really?
Higher Learning.
Really?
If you watch, that movie never changes. It just continues to get better and better. And that is a beautiful representation of an ensemble to date. Michael Rappaport would have got an Oscar.
Michael
came out right now.
Tyra
Banks, one of her first movies, she killed it.
And that was her best role today, actually, if you think about it.
Was Higher Learning.
I'm a John Singleton fan, so I could see that. But Poetic Justice is my favorite. But go ahead.
Higher Learning. Magnolia.
Okay. Oh, didn't see that one. Okay.
When Harry Met Sally.
That's a great one.
Harry Met Sally.
That's a great one. That's a great one.
Boogie Nights. It's number 4.
Love the shots, the continuous shots in that.
Yes.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Boogie Nights number 4, and number 5, just because it changed the way that I looked at everything. And I watch it every now and then. Boys in the Hood.
So you're a John fan. I can see he's gonna be on your next list, right?
my directors, man, all day. John Singleton, P.T. Anderson, like all day. Like,
yeah, P.T. Anderson is the truth. I would like to know who his colorist is. His colorist, his stuff just be beautiful.
Amazing. You know,
it's just absolutely amazing.
Directors. John Singleton is my number 1. P.T. Anderson, number 2.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace.
Judd Apatow, number 3. If you don't know who Judd Apatow is.
I know who Judd is, yeah. I just didn't see that one coming.
Judd Apatow is a master of comedy, master of comedic timing.
Okay.
And everybody named Mama has copied Judd Apatow. If any comedy.
That's very true.
And he also has his hands not only in New School with Seth Rogen in that camp. He also found Kevin Hart.
Yep.
You know, he put Kevin Hart in his first role, Freaks and Geeks.
Yep.
Seth Rogen, Jonah Hill. I can go down. But then he's also been behind Ben Stiller. He's also been behind Adam Sandler. I
was just going to say Sandler, right?
SNL, you know what I mean? So Judd Apatow, by the hands down, number 3 favorite director in the game right now. M. Night Shyamalan, number 4.
Okay.
Like M. Night, especially for his pen. You know, especially
his pen is heat.
I wish that he didn't fall into the gimmick.
Yeah.
He's an amazing writer.
So did you like? So before you get to 5, did you like Battlefield After Earth with Will?
I did not.
Why didn't you like it? I thought that was one of his best movies.
I didn't like it because of the way that he was forced to make it.
Okay. So you think Will was doing too many notes?
I think Hollywood was doing trapped in that whole
Gotcha.
thing. And Donald Glover.
He's a director?
He is a director.
I just knew him as a tap dancer, singer, rapper, actor. I didn't know he directed.
Director, he's a storyteller, he's a producer.
So Donald was a beast then.
Donald's a beast, man.
I didn't know he direct. I didn't know that.
Donald's a beast. He's a visionary, and I like.
He's a Renaissance man for real.
Tyler's in there as a visionary. I love Tyler's vision. I'm gonna be happy when he starts to bring in other people,
right,
to direct.
Right.
I think a lot of people forget he gave Ava one of her first jobs.
Right.
So just like he's definitely got vision. He's definitely got that Phil Jackson in him.
Right.
He might not be Michael Jordan, but he got that Phil Jackson in him.
His claim is, and he said this a couple times, that people like his stuff because it's his voice. Mm-hmm. But I don't think he understands that he's Walt Disney now. I don't think he gets that yet.
I hope he never does.
Okay. But you know what I mean when I say Walt Disney, meaning
I got you.
He can bring in other people and use his name on it, and people will buy it because his name is on it.
They will, but then he'll know he's Walt Disney.
Oh, gotcha.
I
think about it that way, right?
My complex,
right?
But I feel like Tyler Perry will become Walt Disney soon.
Oh yeah. He that's his next step is Walt Disney.
He'll be Tyler Perry Studios will be around forever.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm surprised they don't have a Madea theme park yet.
It's coming.
Madea theme park.
Some is coming. I know I have offended people that have listened to this with my top 5. But that is my top 5. So you let me know. I would love to know what your top 5s are. If you want to let me know what your top 5s are, you can hit me.
How do people get in touch with you?
Yeah, Rhyan Lamarr it's Rhyan Lamarr on Instagram and Facebook. On Twitter, it's Lamar Ryan. And if you are a music fan or you like hearing my testimony, we have an amazing album called A Perfect Mess. It's out right now, streaming on all platforms. Just look me up, A Perfect Mess. If you love it, buy it on iTunes. If you liked it, stream it every day. And look out for more work that we got coming up down the pipeline.
All right, guys. It was Rhyan Lamarr on the Carl Jackson Podcast. Until next time, you be blessed. Peace. Thank you for watching the Carl Jackson Podcast. I hope you enjoyed this interview. And until next time, you have a blessed and prosperous week. All right. Peace.